coached thousands of kids. You're set to coach over 500 this summer.
I remember I would be biking around to different people's houses, basketball in the backpack, working with the kids. Heading into the summer, we'll have about 25 coaches. I was very behind on collecting money, like months and months on collecting money. Then I realized I gotta hire somebody or else I'm just gonna lose the money. One piece of advice I try to think about sometimes is,
when Abie Rosow was in high school, he was biking from house to house with a basketball in his backpack, training kids for a few bucks here and there just because he loved the game. He didn't know it yet, but that hustle would soon turn into one of the biggest youth basketball training companies in the tri-state area. Today, Abie's company, Rosow Elite Performance, coaches hundreds of kids per year, runs programs across Brooklyn, Deal, New Jersey, and the Five Towns, and more, and employs a team of up to 25 coaches. But what really sets Rep apart is the mindset it builds in kids. Abie doesn't just teach basketball, he teaches confidence, work ethic, discipline. He's simultaneously coaching the game and instilling the principles behind a successful life. And honestly, that same focus on values shows up in how Abie runs the business. Even the way he talks about his longtime assistant Rachel, it says it all in my opinion. He tells me she's been by his side for years, handling everything from daily logistics to big picture strategy thinking and making the whole Rep experience feel seamless. I mean, it's clear that Abie doesn't just build great athletes, he builds a great team of people around him. In this episode, we talk about how he built Rep from the ground up, how he scaled from one coach to 25 while staying deeply involved in every kid's growth, and how he overcame the fear of hiring his first full-time employee when the numbers just didn't seem to add up. We also dive into how a last-minute trip to the Five Towns turned into a potential Nike partnership, and the story behind Abie's motto, "Let's get better." I'm Victor Braca, and Momentum is where I dive deep with exceptional leaders to uncover the key decisions, defining moments, and lessons that propelled them to success, and how those insights can inspire your journey forward. If you're building something from scratch, if you've ever doubted your path, or if you just need one final push to just start, it's all in here. Let's get into it. This episode is sponsored by the Hedaya Capital Group. Abie Rosow, Rosow Elite Performance, welcome to Momentum.
thank you, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. We'll jump right into it. You've coached thousands of kids. You're set to coach over 500 this summer. I want to use that as a starting point to who you are. Abie, when you meet someone for the first time, how do you explain to them what you do?
So we run a basketball training program focused on individual skill development, giving kids confidence in their individual skills, also teaching them how to play within a team setting so that they can reach their goal. If they want to try to play on a team, if they want to try to get more minutes on a team, if they want to just be able to play on Saturday in the backyard with their friends, whatever goal they're trying to reach, we're able to cater to them.
What I love about you and about your approach is that you don't just say we're a basketball training program and we teach basketball, but you teach life skills, you instill kids and really anybody who goes through your programs with like the skills they need and the mindsets they need to succeed in life, which I love. And we're going to get to that, and we're going to get to like your business life and you're giving back, which like they're one of the same, right? Because like you're inspiring thousands of kids, which is just like, it's unbelievable. But I want to go back to like your early days. Were you always entrepreneurial?
Yeah. I remember like when I was in school, I was selling like sodas and waters and things like that.
Me too. I love it.
Yeah, I always found myself doing different things like that. Always interested in business and always looking to learn and grow in different ways.
Love it. So you started Rosow Elite Performance when you were 17. And it wasn't an official thing. You just started training kids. But can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I was pretty good in high school, and then just some people heard about me, and I just started training some of my mom's friends' kids. Started working with them a little bit, and then it just became word of mouth. I remember, before I had a license, maybe when I had a license, but I didn't have my own car, I would be biking around to different people's houses, basketball in the backpack, working with the kids. And then it just became word of mouth, and it kind of grew that way.
When I think back to high school, like most high school students are thinking about their history midterm next week. Mm-hmm. Why start a business?
Well, I didn't really think of it as a business. I just thought of it as an opportunity, to do what I like to do, make a little bit of money. But I remember I was in high school, and then I was coaching, travel team at the center. So I was doing that, and maybe that was my first year of college. So I was, while I was playing, I was starting to, find different ways to love the game in different ways. I
Nice.
love the game as a player, but then I slowly started to realize like I really love, teaching the kids just as much, and now even more so than playing.
That's so cool. I mean, do you have to learn coaching separately from learning how to play?
For sure. So I think I learned a lot about coaching from playing. I think I learned a lot about coaching from playing at different levels, playing in college, playing with Cabo USA and different things like that. But I also had, different coaches that were and still are my mentors that I've learned, just from watching them coach and being around them, for sure.
Amazing. And they're probably so proud of you looking at where you are now, coaching so many kids, inspiring so many people. Like looking back at, he used to be one of my players. It's probably such a good moment for them.
For sure.
Love it. So take me into graduating high school. Did you go straight to college? Did you go to work? Tell me about your journey after. And like, did you see yourself going into a professional traditional job, or did you always know that you wanted to have a coaching business, or just wanted to do something untraditional?
Yeah, no, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew that when I was in high school, all I wanted to do when I was growing up, since I was like 10 years old, all I wanted to do was play in the NBA.
Really?
That's all I wanted to do. That was my only goal. Everybody knew it, and everybody would tell me that's not possible, and I said I'm going to do it. I was in high school, and then I started to realize in order to get to the NBA, you have to play in college first. So, started going to different camps and different clinics and trying to be seen by different coaches. There's different levels to college basketball. The highest level that I had the opportunity to go to would be a walk-on at a Division II school, but I had other Division III options, and I realized, I started working with some kids while I was in high school. I enjoyed doing it, so I ended up staying local. Figured, giving myself a chance to play in college, and I figured, if I'm good enough, then I'll try to transfer to a higher level. But right now, let me still have a chance to play and still be able to be local and work with the kids. So I went to Hunter College.
Nice.
So I went there, and then from there, I really started to work with more kids. I was in the city. I was working with kids in the city. I had my programs in Brooklyn. In the summer, I had programs in Deal. So I started working with the kids, and while I started to play, and the more I started to play, the more I started to train, my time became limited. And the more I started to realize, okay, I really enjoy and really love coaching and training, and I'm really not enjoying playing as much. 6 days a week, if you don't really commit to it, it's very difficult. So after 2 years of playing, I still graduated college, but after 2 years of playing, I decided to stop playing and focus on college. Now, I had a bunch of different, a lot of people, like even my family, of course they supported me, but are you able to make a living, just training, coaching basketball? So I did a bunch of different things. I had an internship in a real estate firm. I had an accounting internship. I graduated with an accounting degree, and I taught SAFE at Mag and David Elementary School, at Yeshiva Prep High School. I was a gym teacher at Mag and David. I was a gym teacher at Flatbush High School. So I tried all these different things until I was able to realize, like, I'm able to really commit, full time to my business, and eventually that happened. But I'm glad, because I even tried working with my parents for a little bit. I'm glad that I tried all these different things, because now I didn't enjoy it as much, and now I really enjoy this. I'm going to push all the way forward.
How did those experiences tell you what you like, what you don't like, what career you want to go into, what career you don't want to go into? Like, how was that foundational for you?
It's a hard question.
It's a hard question.
It's a hard question.
A lot of experiences.
Yeah, I was like, for example, I was always good at math, but I realized accounting is a lot more than just math. It's totally different.
Right.
And I didn't really enjoy. I didn't enjoy sitting at a desk, and even though now a lot of my day is sitting at a desk, preparation of workouts and different things like that, but I really enjoy going and doing something traditional like that. I enjoy, opportunity, for growth, and based on how I do, being able to grow that way, So sitting in an accounting firm, and it just wasn't for me, working for a certain amount of years and then trying to get to the next level. Like, I want to be able to grow a little bit quicker. To me, personally, I try to, every single year, try to add something. So if I'm coaching, this many teams this year, I'm trying to add another team next year. I'm trying to get to another level next year, trying to grow that way. Try to add another program, another location.
The entrepreneurial way.
Yeah.
Love it. Like, always growing, always moving, always expanding.
Yeah.
What I love about you is that, yeah, you had the dream of going to the NBA when you were little, right? And you went to college, and like, yes, follow your dreams, follow your passion, but like that's something that you really can't control. Like you can control if you're successful. You can't control if you get into the NBA. Right? If you get drafted.
So yeah, to me, I always think that because I set the bar so high, I was able to get to where I am now. And if I didn't set it that high,
exactly.
I don't think I would be where I am right now.
Exactly.
So, and I still have a lot more room to grow too.
Right.
But
and you took basketball as a business. Like, you know, one way basketball could be a business is the NBA, right, and playing professionally. But you took that and you made it into a very realistic and very doable for you experience of making basketball into a business, which is coaching, right, and starting a business out of it. So, like, kids who like basketball and who want to go into basketball, yeah, they could want to go into NBA, but it doesn't just have to be get into the NBA or relinquish my dreams to, you know, to go into basketball professionally. You went into basketball. And, you know, it being coaching, you're still in the field, you're still playing the sport and doing the sport, but you're doing it in a way that works for you. I think that's like my favorite part about you, your company, your journey, is that you made something that's like far out of reach for so many people, and you made it doable for yourself. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I love that. Like, it sounds like a big jump from training kids, you know, on the side of high school and college to now running summer programs and after school programs and clinics and training camps and so many, and coaching thousands of students. Tell me a little bit about the growth stages of your business. So you're running the business during college, and like, when did it really start to grow?
That's a good question. So I was in college, I was training kids in the city, and then when the season was over, you know, I moved back to Brooklyn, and I had my programs in Brooklyn. So I couldn't be in two places at once.
Right.
So I realized, we started to hire staff, at my group trainings because, we pride ourselves on, player to coach ratio, so to give everybody enough individualized attention. And then saying, well, if we're gonna, if I can't be two places at once and I'm running a session now and someone wants a session at the same time, how do we expand? So, having these coaches be an extension of me, and trusting in them to work with our kids.
Nice. And did you have to overcome that hurdle in terms of your business, rep as a business, relies so much on you. You have to be there to do the coaching. It's your personality, it's your energy that people are attracted to and that people pay for at the end of the day. So when you tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm gonna coach your kid, but it's gonna be one of my guys, or it's gonna be part of this other program that I'm running that I might not personally be directly involved in.
Right.
Did you face, was that a challenge for you?
So first of all, I'm directly involved in all of our programs. So it was definitely a challenge, but to me, the most important thing is preparation. So, any workout, any clinic, any practice that I walk into or my coaches walk into, we come prepared.
Right.
Who's in the program, when we split the groups up, the groups are split up from beforehand, what needs to be worked on, everything is planned minute to minute. So as long as I'm preparing the workout, and helping our coaches prepare the workout and guiding our coaches, and the follow-up, it's very important following up with parents. It's very about how the kids are growing. Very important following up with coaches, especially when you're not there, to understand exactly how the sessions went and what needs to be done and what needs to build on for the next one. But yeah, no, of course, anything that you do that's new, it's going to take some time. At the beginning, it's hard for people to understand. What do you mean? I'm used to working with Abie, but it's someone. No, but you have to explain the process and. Once, and then you have to make it work. You can't. You only have one shot. First impressions are the most important thing.
Right.
So, you have one time. With somebody, first impression. So if I send a coach to work with you, and doesn't work out, that person now is going to have a bad impression of my company. So It's very important that I worked at it where I'm sending coaches that, number one, I trust, number two, have worked with me in group sessions before and know what I'm expecting, and that I, communicating with about what needs to be worked on with each kid. So, thank God, as big as our program is, I know about each kid and what the kids need to work on. So we're able to make sure, they get what they need.
Even when I mentioned my siblings to you, you knew them by name, by face, you knew what age they were. I mean, it's impressive. I think what you do, a lot of people just delegate, and they struggle with delegating, right? Because you have to delegate things and dump responsibilities onto other people, which very often.
Just based on what you're saying, I think it's a blessing and a curse. It's hard for me sometimes to let go. I'm very involved in everything.
Right.
I need to delegate more, in the back end part of the business. But I think because it's very difficult for me to delegate, I always need to be involved in everything. I think that it helps me with this part where I'm not just gonna be okay, just run the workout and it's never like that. Right. I'm always knowing exactly what's going on with the kids. So
it sounds like you delegate and you prepare. Like delegation and preparation is like the killer combo for you, because with just delegation, then the quality would be diminished, right? And you wouldn't have the rep experience. And if you like, with just preparation, you're doing all the stuff yourself, right? But if you delegate and prepare for the workouts, for the programs that you're running, then people get the same quality, and you get to run the business. And like people say a phrase which is working on the business, not in the business, right? Like working on growing and expanding, and and innovating in the business, right? People think about growing and expanding and innovating in your business, and then there's working in your business, which is like sort of like a lot of entrepreneurs when they start a company, when they start a business. They don't start a business. They don't own a company. They own a job, is what I read in a book, right? It's like, did you ever feel like you owned a job as opposed to owning a business?
Yeah, I hear that stuff all the time. I used to feel it all the time. I feel it not as often, but you feel it. You know when you're starting something, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
So you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're sleeping, ridiculous. You're missing out on things. But with anything, if you want to be great at something, it takes sacrifice. So for sure, I definitely felt that before. But then, eventually as you grow, now we have a team of people, helping me out, thank God. And so, I'm able to delegate more. But there's always those days where, you have to, you do feel like it. But at the end of the day, it's always worth it. It's really always worth it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. So.
For sure. Is there such thing as work-life balance in your business? Yeah,
no, for sure. I mean, work-life balance is important for sure. Something, I could for sure work on a little bit more.
Like we all can. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's it's hard. With my business, we work with kids, and the kids are in school and in camp, so programs are always at night or on the weekends, things like that. So. And it's not like during the day we're doing nothing. There's work during the day too. Right. So you're working, preparing, doing different things, and then you work with them at night. So yeah, it's difficult. But as you grow and as you're able to delegate more and more, then it frees up a little bit more of my time for sure.
And I think you enjoy it. Like it's like if you're working all day and a lot of the night, then you have to enjoy it. But I think that's a lot of what keeps you going, is that you enjoy what you're doing and you find fulfillment in it.
Yeah, for sure.
We touched on this a little bit, but I want to go deeper into scaling your operation. How big is your team now?
So we have 3 full-time people that work for us full-time. And then as far as our coaching staff, depending on the time of the year, like right now, like heading into the summer, we'll have about 25 coaches.
Oh, wow. So, that's a big operation.
Yeah.
How'd you get from only Abie as the coach to 25 coaches?
I mean, look, it took a lot of time. Like you said, it started working with kids when I was 17. Now I'm 26. So it takes it takes time. It takes a lot was really word of mouth, and just really investing in what we do. It's not just the hour that you work with the kid. A lot goes into it's the preparation of the workout. It's communicating with the parents. It's understanding who you're working with. Understanding. What they need and everything like that. So just the more effort you put into it, and with a business or job or anything, it's not just about going in and leaving and making the money in that set. It's about you got to do it because you love it, and you got to do it even if there's no reward. And once you do that, then the reward ends up coming when you don't even realize
100%.
it. So
100%.
That's the most important thing. You can't only do something because you're gonna get something out of it, especially if when you're starting out, when you're younger. Like you got to take. Most important thing is you got to take every opportunity that comes your way. Now people I'll call up one of my mentors. I'm like, hey, I have an opportunity to coach this team and that team. He goes, why don't you coach 2 more college teams and go? Like he makes fun of me all the time, like that. But it's like to me, it's like, how am I gonna say no to an opportunity?
How could you not? Right.
What's gonna happen? It's just I think like that a lot, but.
Me too.
You gotta take every opportunity, and sometimes it's okay, it's not the best, and you learn from it. But sometimes it's like, wow, imagine I would have passed on this. So
right. So like right now, if I asked you for like everything, every hat that you wore this past month, in your business, between your coaching, tell me everything.
This past month, well, I mean, it wasn't as crazy, with the holidays and everything. But like 2 months ago, when it was championship season, stuff. Yeah, but it's great. Assistant coach at Yeshiva University. My role there is player development. So working with the guys there, working out with them a couple times a week in the morning, and then we had the playoffs, and we won the Skyline Championship, so that was awesome. We went to the tournament.
That's great.
Yeah, so that was great. Went to the Division Three national tournament, so that was really awesome. And then we won 2 championships with Mag and David, 5th and 6th grade.
That's great. I mean, as a Flatbush guy, I'm legally obliged to say that I'm not a fan of Mag and David winning the championships.
But look, we also, when I was coaching at Flatbush before that, we won 2 championships there also.
All right, so, okay, we got it good.
It's all love to everybody. It's great.
I love it. No, it's great.
Yeah. So, won 2 championships this past year with 5th and 6th grade, Mag and David, with Yeshiva University, and then still running my program. Yeah, that's,
a lot of hats, and just further feeds into the work-life balance. Was there, did you ever feel like you were growing too fast, or did you ever feel like you needed to learn more about business and business management as you were growing your team?
So look, I think I'm one of those guys that really try to, any person I speak to, trying to learn. I remember going to a clinic once, and we were running through a shooting drill, and I went over to the coach after. I'm like, hey, how's my form? And I kept asking him. He's like, just be confident, like you're doing good. And I was just, sometimes you gotta just, of course you always want to learn, but sometimes you learn so much by just doing. I learned the most by doing and failing and figuring out, okay, I messed up in this situation. How am I gonna learn and figure it out for the next time? And I think that's really the best way to learn. But of course, I always have, if there's any problem, you name it, thank God I'm able to call somebody and be like, hey, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with that? You always, it really does take a village, as they say. So
right. How has your network of mentors and the people that you look up to and the people that you go to for counsel, for advice, how has that group of people shaped your business?
They really have. I mean, my parents, with their business and their business acumen and everything, and their understanding me, they've helped me tremendously. And then you have different, basketball people that have helped me, different basketball coaches, and then there's different guys, there's guys, that help me with the basketball coaching side of it, and then the basketball skill development side of it. But then there's also the business management side of it, and then there's the management of the people that work, full-time that aren't coaches, but then there's also the management of the coaches and understanding different people's personalities, and understand, the same way you have a kid, you can talk to a kid in a certain way, you can motivate a kid in a certain way. The same thing with coaches, certain coaches that, you could talk to in a certain way and you have to talk to in another way and motivate in different ways. So it's really, you're always learning about how to manage and work with different people.
Hedaya Capital Group is a trusted business advisor helping entrepreneurs unlock the growth potential of their businesses with tailored accounts receivable factoring and working capital solutions. They're a family-owned, approachable team who listen and provide solutions while sharing their business experience and knowledge to help protect clients' interests. They work from a core of old world values where ethics and integrity have meaning, and new world thinking where speed and flexibility ensure success. The result is that clients feel confident, taking advantage of growth opportunities, knowing they have the liquidity and scalability they need, as well as a long-term partner looking out for them and helping them grow. Since 2003, their expertise and patient approach to capital have helped companies improve cash flow, protect assets, and scale their business. Visit hedayacapital.com, that's HEDAYACAPITAL.com, or email info@hedayacapital.com to learn more. Back to the episode. You told me about learning from setbacks and failures. It seems like it's very important to you, and just learning from every experience. So what has been one of the biggest mistakes you made, or the biggest setbacks you've experienced, and what did you take from that? What did you learn from that applies into your business today?
So it's a tough question. There's definitely a bunch of different, mistakes and failures. Everybody has that, and you just got to bounce back from them. But, something like with my business, I've always wanted to grow and hire people and hire somebody to help me with what with back end work and things like that. It came to a point, I think it was 3 years ago, before I had anybody. It was just me, and I looked, and I kept pushing it. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow night. I'll wake up early one day and do it. And I never collected. I was very behind on collecting money, months and months on collecting money. And then I realized, like I got to hire somebody, or else I'm just gonna lose the money. May as well
Right.
hire somebody, and so I guess like a lesson to people. I don't know if it's about a failure so much, but like a lesson is like sometimes I drive myself crazy. Like I gotta grow. You gotta grow. You gotta do something. You gotta take the. Sometimes I always thought about hiring somebody to help me. For years before it actually just clicked, like now's the time. So sometimes you have it in your mind and you want to do something, but sometimes you got to just wait till it's the right opportunity. When it's the right opportunity, so I guess it became like, look, you got to do it, and it just forced me to do it. And I guess that's like maybe a bad example, but even with other things, like we always wanted to expand, and every year we would go to Deal and in the summer, and we would work with the kids in the summer. Kids from Brooklyn would come. We work with a handful of kids in the summer from Deal, and only work with them for 8 weeks in the summer. And it grew. So it grew from, let's say, 10 kids to 20 kids to 30. And every summer, we would go back to Brooklyn. I'd be like, why are we not working with these kids year round? And I would be like banging myself in the head, like why? Why are we not doing it? And all of a sudden, this past year, thank God, we had a great full year-round program and Deal. And
Great.
I'm like to myself, it's partly because you always wanted to do it. It's partly because also like now's the right time. You finally grew to a point. This past right now in this spring, we have a 5 towns program. We have over 30 kids in the 5 towns working weekly now in the spring, and it's because we kept at it, and eventually we broke through. Like now's the right time. It just happens to be. So sometimes you gotta be a little patient. Don't drive yourself too crazy, and thank God everything works out.
I love hearing about like your expansion and how you struggle with it. It's so real. Like people who run service-based businesses, which is really what you're providing a service to people. It's so tough to expand, and like you've successfully branch out into multiple locations, right? Like out of state for the whole year, and to another city, another town. I mean, that's very, very impressive. Was it nerve-wracking for you to take somebody on full-time, take people on as full-time employees? Because paying coaches, by the hour or for the project, like there's less risk in that than paying somebody a yearly salary, and they get paid whether or not you get players that year.
100%. So that was the hardest part before we hired anybody. That was the hardest part. Like you said, and you have a lesson, you pay a coach. You don't have a lesson, you don't pay. Like that was the hardest part. It just came to a point where like we're just gonna and something my mom taught me, like let's just say this, just for math purposes, the salary is $12,000 for the year, which is not a normal salary. Just for math, you break it down into months. So it's like, you hire somebody, it's $1,000 for the month. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then it's not. You don't have to think about the full year salary. You can break it down. You got to give it a month. You give it time, and okay, if not, it's a learning experience that you paid X amount of dollars for the month. You don't have to think like, oh my God, I lost the full salary in a year.
You paid a learning experience. You paid for a learning.
You paid for a learning experience.
It's like you paid to go to college.
Exactly. Yeah, you're paying, and it's just like any business where you sign up, you go to a conference, and you're trying to expand and learn. Like it's the same thing. You're investing in your company. Sometimes I get stuck where it's like I don't want to put money into something unless I know exactly what I'm gonna get out of it.
I feel that.
But if you hire somebody to work for you and do something for you, it doesn't mean that it's different. They're not training a kid, so they don't make money off. You don't make money off of them necessarily right there. But it frees up your time. It frees up my time. Now my head's clearer, and now I can think about growing the business instead of sitting at an Excel sheet trying to figure out who's paying me, who I have to pay, and all these different things, which I was focused on the entire time. So I feel like it's really, really difficult. It's a great point. It's very, very difficult to hire somebody that you have to pay no matter what happens. But it's part of responsibility, and if you really want to expand, that's the only way to do it. And you try it, and if it doesn't work, okay, then maybe you're a one-man operation for a little bit longer. Then you try again.
Right.
Thank God it was the right time. We tried, and we kept pushing, and it's good.
You know a lot about business. Like I know a lot is you learned on the job from growing your own business. But did you take a lot of business knowledge from school?
It's a good question. So I went to Hunter College. I didn't have a business major. I majored in accounting. I was always very active and trying to figure out what to do. So I connected with the business office over there, and they put me in touch. We had this great program, an entrepreneurial program. And what they did is they paired you up with a Hunter alumni, and you're supposed to have an internship, and then every week it was 8-week internship. No, like it's 8 week. Every week you would have a call with your mentor, and update them on how the internship was. So I reached out to them. I said, listen, I can't take an internship in the summer. Let me do my own business as an internship. I begged them to do it, and they accepted. And basically, I had a mentor and his assistant. Now they're not part of the community. They're just great people, business people. Make tons of money, and they're giving back their time. So I was able to open up like my entire business, how much money I'm making, how much money I'm paying out, who I'm hiring, what the problems are, just every week opening up to them. And I had access to these people, and they would give me work. Like, don't show up to the next meeting until you prepare. So I was preparing business plans, what my 5-year plan is from now. This is when I was in college at 20 years old.
That's awesome.
So I had this access to these guys, and still to this day, I meet with them. I meet with them once a year.
Oh wow, that's great. That's great. You maintain a connection.
Yeah, it's really, really amazing. James Ganley and Joe, really just two amazing guys, and I meet with them every year. And thank God, it's like what they would tell us, like, remember you were talking about this problem, and look at what you had. And it's like, it's just crazy to see, when you stick to something and what you can do. It's really,
that's great.
It's really
that's
awesome.
great. It goes to show you also that, like, the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know, definitely helps you. Not just because your connections can get you far in life and can hook you up with other people, but it's because of what people can teach you from their experience. How do you go about networking and meeting people? Like, this was a sort of an arranged thing with the college, but like, if you're networking on your own and you're trying to find a new mentor, you're trying to solve a specific problem in your business, and you want to call on the advice of somebody, how do you meet new people?
So it's like I said before, taking every opportunity. So whether it be going to like, for example, I was somewhere with my friends a couple years ago, and I saw Isaiah Whitehead. He was an NBA player for the Knicks.
I would not know.
The Nets.
I would not know.
And he played in China. So he's ex-NBA guy, from Coney Island. So I saw him out with his guy, his agent and his people.
Sure.
So I went up to him, and I said, hey, I had my business card. I said, hey, I'm a trainer. I'd love to train you, work you out for free, whatever. He, told me to talk to his agent. Got his agent's number, invited me out. I never ended up training him, but he invited me out to work with. No, not work with, but I ended up going to Coney Island and watching, Isaiah Whitehead's tournament. And you had all these guys in Coney Island, like, behind the fence, and they couldn't get in. And I got right onto the court.
That's cool.
Lance Stevenson was there. Those
just
different
because
guys.
you asked, also.
Yeah, you got to take every shot that you can. Another connection opportunity is. Sometimes it's because you go out of your way and you try to do something, but sometimes it happens because, you do a good job. I was coaching in the Maccabee games last year, and one of the coaches of another team was just watching the game. He came over to me and said, I really love how you coach your guys. Your guys were awesome, and build a relationship with him. And he, through Maccabi USA, I met with him in person when we got back from the summer. And then he was coming to a tournament in the Five Towns. He even said he coaches in Miami, and he coaches one of the Jewish teams in Miami. He was coming to a tournament in the Five Towns at Hafter. He said, "Hey, I'm coming down for the weekend. Would love to connect. Would love for you to come and give a speech to my guys." So I said, "All right, I'll try to make it." I finished practice at Mag and David. It was like 9:00. It's like, I don't really want to go over there, but this guy invited me. He's twice my age, wants me to come speak to his guys. You can't pass up an opportunity like that. I go out there, speak to his guys, meet with him, get home at 11 o'clock, whatever. But all of a sudden, he calls me up. He goes, "Hey, I run basketball clinics for Nike." And he goes, "I would love for you to come run a clinic."
That's awesome.
So now I'm going out to Florida, middle of June, and I'm going to help him run a camp for Nike.
That's great.
And it's just, look, he thought I was a great coach and contacted me, whatever, but if I didn't go make the effort and go meet with him, maybe, he wouldn't have asked me to do that. Now all of a sudden I have a connection. I'm going to go out to Florida, work with different kids and different community and different people, and work with different types of coaches. It's all college coaches that are there. It's just, really taking any opportunity you can, but also trying to create opportunities for yourself. If there's nothing there, there's no such thing as nothing there. You can always do something. You can always create something.
I love that. And like
So-
almost, I could say like confidently that the majority of people would have said, I'm not going to go, I'm too tired. Yeah, I would have said, I'm not going to go, I'm too tired. But you took the effort, you went to go meet with him, he invited you. Look what it turned into, you know? Amazing. What do you see for the future of Rep? Is it like a franchising model? Is it scaling as large as you can? What are your plans?
It's a great question. Everybody always asks me that question. It's always great to know exactly what you want, but sometimes it's fun to try to figure it out too. I think that there's opportunity for growth within the community for sure. I think there's opportunity to grow within the Jewish communities, within the surrounding Jewish communities. You know, now we're in the 5 towns, now we're in Jersey. During COVID, we had a very big following in Great Neck, so tapping back into that market. We even have kids traveling from Great Neck now to the 5 towns to work with us.
Really? That's great.
So, you know, just different things like that. I think, you know, trying to grow our, you know, travel teams. And, you know, for me, a big part of when I was growing up is, you know, I always played in the community, but I always wanted to go on the outside and play against different types of competition. In order to do that, there wasn't really an opportunity within the community. I always had to go out and play different types of people, and, you know, religious observance has always gotten in the way, or the tournaments got in the way of religious observance, whichever way you want to look at it. So I tried my best to make it work, but now, you know, giving the kids an opportunity in our community, which are good enough to play. Sometimes they think, you know, you're not. They are good enough to play. So getting a group of kids that are good enough to play, and then going out and playing in these tournaments and showing them, you know, what it means, you know, to be Jewish and to go play against these other people in different communities, is really special. So I want to try to grow that as much as I can, as much as we can, and try to, you know, build our teams also. So yeah, there's a bunch of different things, you know, we're trying to work on.
Well, like I want to shift into, you know, giving back and how you inspire people and your coaching philosophy, you know, because like I think they're so meshed and they're so interwoven. Like I mentioned in the beginning, your business, which is really just inspiring kids on the court, off the court, in the ball game, and in their lives, right? So like let's start with your motto, your slogan, "Let's get better." Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come to be?
It's a good one. Just always trying to be positive about everything that we do. Just, you know, just put your head down and, you know, just put your head down. Let's get better. Like, you know,
Love it.
Let's get better.
Plain and simple. It's great.
Let's get better.
It's great.
Just continue to work. You know.
I love it. And what does that speak to your coaching philosophy on the court? You know, in you know, training kids to play basketball, but also in life, in every other aspect of your life that's not your sports.
Yeah. No, I mean it goes for everything. You know, you don't do well on a test, you know, you gotta pick yourself up. Let's get better. You know, you. I don't know if you choose for the camera, but like you ask out a girl, she said no. All right, let's get better. You move on. You know.
Like what I love about you is that like you're inspiring the kids. What motivates you to inspire kids? I just watched your video, your promotional video, and like maybe 50% of it was about basketball. And the other 50% of it was about, you know, Abie pushes me. Abie, you know, the work ethic that I've built up in the training program applies to my school and doing well on tests and interacting with my friends and family and, you know. So, like, tell me a little bit about that.
No, I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, that's the whole point. You know, all the kids that are coming to us, you know, maybe they want to play in the NBA, maybe they don't, but it's not about that. It's about, you know, building confidence through sports. And I think that I, for sure, built confidence through sports. Just from, you know, going after something, working hard, getting knocked down, and, you know, persevering. By being able to do that in basketball, if I could do that in basketball, I could do that in anything else. Or if you know, like you said, you can't control exactly how skilled you are in something. So you work your butt off in basketball, and something you're not so good at, let's just say, you work yourself, and you work hard, and you get to a certain point. Now all of a sudden you take where you're naturally gifted at, whatever it is, and you put that same work ethic, I mean, the sky's the limit. So, you know, for sure. So it's really, really important. And you know, what I really love is be able to see how you can impact somebody and show them, you know, a kid might think they have a certain limit, or they're nervous about something, or they're scared about something, and really be able to motivate them to be like, look, there's nothing to be afraid of. You know, you could do it, and all of a sudden they do it. It's the greatest joy in the world. Nothing better.
I love that.
You know, and you could do it for yourself. But when you could do it and then you see them being so happy and you know that you're a small part of that, I mean, it's crazy.
So fulfilling. I want to encourage everybody listening to check out your Instagram. You have amazing clips there. I mean, like in the game, you know, like you have a videographer and you're mic'd up and people, we can hear you coaching the kids, how you motivate them. You're telling one of the guys, you're the best player on this court. You could do it, right? I mean, that's great. And they happen to get millions of views. People love this stuff. It's amazing. But it's really cool, you know, and like the fact that they get millions of views, hundreds of thousands of likes, is that people like, it strikes a chord with people to see, you know, somebody who is not just a coach. You're not just a basketball coach. You're coaching the kids for life, and like you maintain you maintain connection with your players when they get off the court, right?
For sure. I mean, I was in Israel visiting my brother. He had a baby, so I was in Israel, and he's still affiliated with Lev Aharon, so the team there, I went to go watch, you know, the team playing a game in Israel.
That's
and
great.
It was guys that I've been coaching since they were in 6th grade. So it's just, you know, it always comes full circle, and you know, it's really cool that, you know, you're building relationships, like you said, for life. For sure.
That's great. I love it. For you, and within, you know, your personal life and your business, you're constantly giving back. Free clinics, charity events, mentoring kids, whatever it may be. Like you do so much work in terms of giving back to the community. What's your why behind that?
I think that so many people have done it for me. You can count the hours of, you know, phone calls with coaches or people, just anybody, teachers, mentors, family, friends, helping me with things that I needed, and I haven't paid for it, you know, for it. So be able to then be in a position where people look up to you in that way. It's like, hey, you know, my son didn't make the team, you know, can you kind of talk to you? And we're talking for an hour, or hey, you know, certain organization, you know, we wanna, you know, do an auction, you know, can you donate or whatever? You can't, same way, you can't say no to any opportunity for business. You can't say no to any opportunity like that. Cause like somebody texted me about something like that, and I you know, whatever it was, you know, some people will get upset, like, oh, like, why they ask me for money or whatever. To me, it's like, thank you, Hashem, that I have the opportunity to, someone's reaching out to me. Not everyone's reached out to, you know what I mean? It's like, thank you, I have that opportunity.
Love that.
And like, you know, so it's all about the mindset and how you think about it.
What a mindset.
But it's not easy. It's not easy. For sure not easy to have that mindset. But you got, you know, like just like, it's cool and people appreciate it, and it always comes back around, you know. So
right. For young adults who are worried about their future, I think everyone's like, we're in such a fast-moving environment nowadays where, you know, you finish high school, go to college, do this, do that, you know, get a job, go to the bank, go to the law firm, go to the accounting firm, and get to the best job possible.
Right.
Like there's just such a rush nowadays. Like, what do you say to young adults who are worried about their future, who feel pressured to just move as quickly as possible?
No, I think it makes sense. They should understand that, you know, a lot of people feel like that. I used to feel like that. I still probably feel like that. But it makes sense. But just to understand, like, you want to try to put yourself in a spot where, you know, you can enjoy what you're doing. So if it is the track that you said, get to the job, get to a highest position in a certain firm, do that. And I thought it was maybe for me too, but then all of a sudden, you know, you try to find something that you're passionate about. And I think doing something that you're passionate about, more than trying to find something that's going to make you money, is probably the better way to go. But it depends. It depends where you are and what stage of life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like when I started doing my basketball and stuff like that, and like, you know, you know, you could, if you're 20 years old and you're married, whatever, you know, it's hard to, you know, just do whatever you want. So everybody's in a different stage. But wherever you are, you know, try to, and even if you're at a job that, you know, and let's say it pays well, but you're not enjoying it so much, but maybe on your own time, your free time, try to do something. And even if it doesn't pay you the same way you would want it to, but at least it's something that you enjoy doing, and then you have the best of both worlds. You have a job that you're able to make money for your family, and you're still able to do something that you enjoy doing. And who knows, maybe you follow that passion, and all of a sudden that will eventually later on become your full-time thing that you do.
You don't have to choose one extreme, is what you're saying.
No, you don't.
I like that. I mean, you've been able to turn your passion into a full-fledged business. What, like, going back to when your parents and your family members and friends said, like, wait, you're seriously going to go into coaching? Like, how are you going to make money, right? People, you told me that people told you that.
For sure.
Like, what made you really want to power through? And most people would have just said, you know what, you're right. I probably won't be able to make money. I'm going to go be an accountant, right? Like, what made you power through and say, no, I can make money. If maybe I can, maybe I can't, but I'm going to at least try. Why'd you try?
Just to believe, the belief in myself that you can do anything you put your mind to. It's really what it comes down to. It sounds easy, but it's not. It's hard. There's definitely days where I'm like, it sounds cool to maybe like work with my parents. Try to, when you have friends that are making money a little bit quicker. When you're younger and they have certain jobs and they have certain salaries and whatever, or even going through COVID where the schools are telling you like, hey, like you can't send your kid to a program. You have to be in a pod. Like, what are you gonna do there? Like, right. So I could have said, all right, well, forget my business, but you sticking to it because I really believed in what I do. But at the same time, I didn't just sit around and say I'm just gonna sit there and just do nothing. Like when there was no programming, I took on other jobs. Like I said, I tried other things while still keeping this, and it ended up just pushing both at the same time and seeing what was working and what I was leaning towards, and just staying with what I was passionate with. Ended up working out. And if it doesn't work out the way it worked out for me right now, it doesn't mean that it's a failure. It just means that you could still do it. And like if I wasn't doing what I do full time, I would still coach 100%. 100%.
Right.
And that's great. And a lot of people do that, and it's awesome. Sometimes you could think about it as being easier. Think about it like you have a regular job, and all of a sudden you get to do what you love to do for fun, coaching basketball. Oh, it's great. It's different. Right. What I do, sometimes you could look at it as like, oh, it's a little bit more difficult. You're doing basketball the whole day, and then you do basketball at night. It's like, it's a lot. So you can look at it in different ways. It's it can work differently for different people.
Right. You told me earlier that you had so many coaches, in your early years that really made an impact on you and shaped your mindset and shaped who you are as a player and as a person. What's the best advice you've ever gotten from a coach?
One piece of advice I try to think about sometimes is nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. Like, just got to work harder. Like right now, like, it's really cool you called me to come and do this, and everybody's going to watch this, and they're going to see, I'm this, I'm that. It's going to be all positive, but nobody sees what it takes to get there.
All right.
And nobody cares. Like, it's, when you're doing really well, they see that, and that's great. And if you don't do well, then they see that, and it's not great. And you got to be able to be thick-skinned and just be able to take it. And everybody has people that they're close to that people do care. They do care. You can talk to about what you're going through, and it's hard pushing through. But at the end of the day, like, there's no excuse. You can't have a bad session. You can't not give it all to the kids. Like, it's not their problem. Like, you got to show up every day.
Right.
You got to go to work. Like, you got to do it. So I think that's one piece of advice. Nobody cares. To me, I think because I've been around so many different people and so many different clinics and coaches and mentors and people like that, I think being able to be around so many different people and different mindsets and different terminology and different things, being able to create your own out of it is really important. So like my coaching style is a little bit of this guy, a little bit of that guy, a little bit of him, a little bit of that, a little bit from when I was a player, like, and now it became mine because I learned from so many different people. So it's something else too. I like that.
I remember what I wanted to say before.
Yeah.
Which was that, like, we were talking about failures in business, and if you come out of a business, like, it's not really a failure because worst thing, you paid for a learning experience. I think, like, everybody is willing to pay for college, or almost everybody is willing to pay for college, but almost nobody is willing to start a business, be okay with failing, and, put in an investment of time and some money maybe, be okay with failing, and then come out of that with a great story and a learning experience. No one is willing to do that, and that's arguably a way better learning experience than going to college because you're learning on the job and you're learning by doing just like you did. Like, I heard this in a podcast or in a book somewhere which is that there was an author. There was actually another podcaster, one of the biggest in the world, Tim Ferriss, and I would highly recommend his podcast. It's like a business podcast, and what he did for a couple years of his life was, he had some money. He said, he was deciding between whether or not he should do an MBA program or like some fancy college, right? Let's say it would cost him 250 grand. He said, should I spend 250 grand on the MBA program? Okay, it'll be good for me. I'll make the most of it. Or should I take 50 grand, invest it into 5 different companies, right? Start working for the companies like as a startup advisor. Like, how much more would I learn from that? And then if I lose my investment, I lose my 50 grand per company. But if one of them takes off, right, or if 2 of them take off, then I number 1 had a great monetary investment, and number 2 I learned so much, right? And I think one of them ended up being Spotify or something, something crazy like that. And I just I love that story and that mindset, which is just like invest in learning experiences that are, that you might fail in, but that are real life business experiences. If you're so willing to go to college, then I think people should be so willing to start a business in that same way. You know what I mean? If you're an entrepreneur like that.
For sure.
And I can see that in you. Like, yes, there were times where you were scared that you were going to fail when you were hiring your first employee. Like, they get paid whether or not you get clients, right? But you ultimately did it, and if it worked out, thank God. But if it didn't work out for you, then you paid for a learning experience.
For sure.
That's just that's part of the mind frame that I love for business. So looking back on your journey from 17 years old, a high school student, running a business without even knowing you were running a business, right? 0 clients, hustling, to now hundreds of students. I mean, you've coached thousands of students, and you coach hundreds of students per year, and you have, thank God, a thriving business. Can you pinpoint a specific momentum moment? I mean, the moment where things really started to take off for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a bunch of different moments. Like, there's always different.
There's not one for sure.
And hopefully there'll be more. But I think when I first started to grow the business beyond myself, as far as having other coaches working with me, and realizing that this could be a business, because when I forgot how old, I would sit and just try to fill out my calendar and just understand, like, if I work all these hours, you make this money, it just doesn't work. Like, full time just doesn't work.
Right.
Like, you have to be able to scale. So just realizing, once I started to scale and realizing, wow, this is working, then that was for sure a momentum moment. Other moments, hiring, first full-time person, having somebody there every single day, bounce ideas off of, not having to, call my mom when she's in the middle of her work, like bothering her. She's like, I have my own work to do, you know what I mean? Now,
right.
Having somebody that's there for you, helping you out with everything that you need, is really cool. Yeah, like different things like that. I mean, like, this could be a moment, like having somebody like you calling me and saying, hey,
right.
Not everybody gets to be on the show. You calling me and asking me to do this, like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's so different. Someone I mentioned, like, when the guy called me to go to the camp in Florida, or
right.
coaching at Yeshiva University, like being a college basketball coach. Like,
I love how
that's pretty cool.
You see the momentum moments in everyday life.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just have 1 or 2, but like every day, every month is another turning point for you, which I love. A lot of people, myself included, like, there's always a big movement in the community to give back, right? To get involved and to give back, which is very, very nice. But for young people who are just getting started in business, and especially young entrepreneurs who don't have much time on their hands, like, a lot of people feel like they have to decide between doing good and doing well. And like, I kind of said this, I said this earlier, and you've managed to do this very well, but I want to hear a little bit more from you. Like, how do you mesh giving back and doing business, and doing it in a way that like keeps you and your business sustained while also helping other people?
Yeah. So my brother, he's in Kollel, and he'll always remind me that what you're doing every day is you're helping people. And if you think about that, even if you're making money and parnasa in your business and your life, but if you think that you're helping people, and you just constantly just think about that, it goes a long way. So that's just in general. But having opportunity to work with different organizations like CARE or the Eve Do School, or even doing a tournament last summer for the Jack Lemonade stand. Being again you first of all, you don't make money obviously in those situations, and second, you lose money, but you don't think about it as losing money. It's just, this is a way to use my platform. Like, if I didn't have this business, I wouldn't be able to do this. So not everyone's able to do this. Not everyone's asked to do this. Not everyone has the bandwidth to do this. So be able to be asked to do these things, or SBH asked me to put something in an auction. I mean, it's for business purposes. When someone texts you like, hey, I just want an auction, get a free lesson. Like, it's not necessarily so fun to give someone a free lesson, but first of all, it's cool opportunity to do it, number one. And number two, like you said, indirectly, that person is most usually a phone number that I don't have saved in my contacts. Now it's a new client. So everything ends up coming back to you, in a positive way. And it's positive just to be able to give back, but also, in business, it works out too. So
amazing. I love it. I just love how you were able to mesh the two so well. Abie, thank you for coming.
Sure.
For sharing your experience. I mean, like, you're a younger guy. You're 26.
Mm-hmm.
One of the youngest guests on the podcast so far. And like, what I love is that you're going through it. Like, I've interviewed people who are more established in business, and like, both types of guests are really amazing because you get to build off of the experience and the wisdom of people who have been in business for a while and who are very established. But like, for guys like you, I get to hear get to go down in the trenches, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and hear what you're going through, how you're struggling to grow, and how you're overcoming that struggle, and so many more things. So like, I hope people, I hope the audience will share in appreciating what you had to say tonight. But really, thank you so much.
For sure.
Thank you so much for listening until the end. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I personally loved how Abie was just so genuine in this conversation. He shared what sets him apart, what he's not so great at, and his plan for expansion in the future. Here are my top 3 takeaways from my conversation with Abie Rosow. First, you don't need to wait for the perfect plan. Abie started training kids before he had a license, before he had a car, and before he even thought of it as a business. He just started biking from house to house with a basketball in his bag, and that one step turned into everything. Too many people get stuck waiting until they're ready. This point has been echoed by guests time and time again on this podcast, from small business owners to billionaires. Getting started is the best thing you can do. You will never be 100% ready. Number 2, growth isn't about doing more. It's about doing things differently. Abie hit a ceiling when it was just him. He could only coach so many kids, but when he started delegating with structure and preparedness and trust, he built something way bigger than himself. His process for scaling rep without losing quality is a blueprint for any service-based business. And number 3, the goal isn't just to win. The goal is to build people. That's what sets rep apart. Abie's entire philosophy is about using basketball as a tool to build confidence, discipline, resilience in kids. That's what Abie's all about. He's coaching for life, not just for the court. And that kind of impact, that's what really lasts. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, you're going to love my conversation with Ness Mugrabi. When Ness was just 22 years old, he became the youngest NFL agent in history. He landed a life-changing internship at age 16, turned it into a career, and today he's negotiated over $100 million contracts for some of the top NFL players. This guy is a total hustler. His story is unbelievable. To listen to that episode, just search Momentum Ness Mugrabi, that's Mugrabi, on any platform, or click the link in the show notes. With that said, guys, thank you so much for listening, for watching. Please be sure to subscribe wherever you're tuning in. Rate the show 5 stars and share with a friend. Until next time.